So at the time I was the director of programs for the Institute, we were sort of bringing to life what we knew our value could be in our mission, which was to facilitate productive conversations. And this issue with Dicamba had been on the horizon and in the landscape of Arkansas agriculture for probably a couple of years before we became involved. And there was a period of time where the Department of Agriculture and the Plant Board had to make a decision about the use of this chemical and what would govern the use of the chemical by farmers in Arkansas. Things like the latest day that you could apply it, for example. And the farming community was pretty bitterly divided over this because in order to use dicamba, which was very effective at controlling pigweed, in order to use it, you had to follow the manufacturer's instructions. And it is a volatile chemical that in heat and humidity will lift from the crop and move on to other crops. And in order to use it, you have to have dicamba-resistant plants, and not every farmer does, right? So that's sort of the summation of why the community became divided over people using dicamba, farmers using dicamba, it damaging other crops, even unintentionally, right? And so the Secretary of Agriculture approached the Institute, and I spoke with him about whether or not we could be of service to the plant board in facilitating the conversation. And so that's how I was involved. I was the lead facilitator for the 2 dicamba convenings that we had. And, one of the first steps that we made in that was to talk with both the Secretary of Agriculture and the governor about what we felt was the appropriate way to structure that conversation, because there was a task force that had been appointed by Governor Hutchinson to look at technologies related to dicamba, how to safely use it, how to prevent damage to other crops, and so forth. And we made a recommendation through the Secretary of Agriculture to make sure that the perspectives around the issue were pretty evenly represented. So in other words, not to have too many industry people, not to have too many farmers who were impacted and farmers who used it, but to have a balance of all of that, right? And so the Secretary of Agriculture and the governor, appointed a task force that was very representative of the diversity of opinion in the farming and agricultural community. And so we convened them here twice, and we walked through what it would look like to come to consensus around how to use dicamba in the future.